She messaged me, "I really like you, but I believe we should remain just friends." I responded, "Thank you for your honesty." From that instant onward, I chose to handle her like any regular acquaintance, no fancy restaurants, no costly presents. Barely a week passed when she referenced me in her recent update. "I really like you, but I believe we should remain just friends." That single message struck deeper than I anticipated. For a moment, I simply gazed at my screen, rereading it repeatedly until the letters began to fade. My pulse quickened, not from sorrow, but from a vacant, numb sensation. The silent dread I'd been dodging had at last shown up. I didn't respond immediately. I remained there motionless, device still gripped tightly, attempting to experience some emotion, frustration, grief, ease. Then I gave a slight nod to myself, even though no one was around to witness it. A weary little acknowledgement, as if addressing my own image in the mirror. "Okay, I understand." So I wrote back, straightforward. "Thanks for your honesty." I placed my phone aside, reclined in my seat, and breathed out deeply, as though I'd been suppressing air for ages. Starting then, I vowed quietly to myself, if Emma preferred friendship, I'd handle her precisely that way. And truthfully, I didn't grasp it at the time, but that small choice, that composed brief reply, would alter our dynamic completely. Emma wasn't merely some casual person I'd encountered on the internet. She stood out, the type who enters a space and instantly brightens everyone's mood. Intelligent, humorous, self-assured, and yes, she possessed that smile that could make you lose track of your thoughts. We connected via shared acquaintances roughly a year back. Initially, it was relaxed. Film evenings, group outings, private humor that only we understood. Then, gradually, I began paying more attention to her, the manner in which she wrinkled her nose during laughter, how she paid attention as if you were the sole speaker in the crowd. I didn't develop feelings suddenly. It built gradually and intentionally, half a year of demonstrating her importance to me without voicing it directly. I wasn't aiming to wow her with wealth. I simply aimed to express my concern. When she said she adored sushi, I reserved a spot at her preferred place. When her headphones failed, I got new ones for her special day. If she required a listener, I was available. Late-night conversations after tough times, spontaneous rides through town, minor acts that seemed significant. And the reality is she appeared to reciprocate. She'd grin upon my arrival, rest her head on my shoulder during films, label me her top choice. You know, those subtle signs that lead you to wonder, perhaps, just perhaps, she shares the sentiment. So yes, I believed we were creating something genuine, something reciprocal. As it happened, I was merely constructing an idea of us that lived only in my imagination. When she delivered that "let's remain friends" message, it wasn't rage that struck me. It was humiliation, like I'd been following an entirely separate storyline all along. But I suppose that's my responsibility. I never inquired about her perspective. Reflecting now, I see how I'd elevated her to top importance while I was merely a choice. I was constantly initiating contact, organizing meetups, purchasing items, following up. She never demanded it, but she didn't halt me either. And that's what hurts, how effortlessly she received it all without reciprocating much. Yet I don't resent her. She never committed to anything. She was simply herself, and I was overlaying deeper meaning. Thus, following that message, I resolved, no more hoping for eventually, no more pursuing. If friendship was her wish, okay, I'd be a friend, but I'd cease being the self who centered on her. I recall the morning after. Normally, I'd send something silly like "good morning, coffee lover," or a funny image. That day, I refrained. I rose, prepared my meal, and allowed the quiet to linger. It seemed odd initially, like ending a routine, but beneath the unease, there emerged an odd feeling of freedom. Like I'd finally alighted from an endless conveyor I'd unknowingly been on. That's when I understood I wouldn't continue in the prior capacity. Going forward, Emma would be simply another acquaintance. At least, that's what I assumed. The change began right away, not through dramatic actions or declarations, but through soft, understated adjustments I hardly registered myself. I'd respond, but solely when convenient. "Hey, up for coffee soon? Not today, perhaps another day. What are you doing?" Just occupied with things, courteous, amicable, yet reserved. Initially, it seemed uncomfortable intensely, like attempting to stride evenly after favoring a leg for ages. I needed to prevent overanalyzing each message, rereading her words, searching for hidden meanings. But the further I withdrew, the freer I sensed. And amusingly, that's precisely when she began to observe. The initial indicator arrived 3 days later, a casual message at 11 p.m. "You've been silent recently." "All right?" I looked at the display a while before replying. Yes, everything's fine, just occupied. Then followed the missed rings, one late at night, another early next day with a oops, accidental dial note I saw through instantly. The reality, she wasn't accustomed to my absence from her sphere anymore. During group gatherings, I ensured casualness. I chose seats opposite her rather than beside, conversed with all, chuckled, participated, but offered no extra focus to her. If she joked, I grinned. If her gaze lingered, I averted mine. It wasn't pretense, it was merely equilibrium. And evidently equilibrium registered as dismissal to her. She began leaving clues, gentle initially. Met a colleague today. He's decent but not as considerate as you. Oh, this acquaintance treated me to a meal, but he overlooked asking my preference first. You'd never forget that. I'd merely grin or reply. Haha, glad you enjoyed it. No further engagement. She posted melancholic phrases and monochrome self-portraits suggesting longing for past days. Previously, I'd message promptly. Now I simply added a heart reaction and continued. She appeared disturbed. I sensed it when one evening she messaged more pointedly. You've truly altered, haven't you? I pondered the text before answering. I suppose we've both shifted. At the following group event, she arrived delayed, donning that scent I'd once praised. She chuckled more boldly, brushed my arm during conversation, behaved as if all was unchanged. But I'd recognized the trend. I understood she wasn't merely resuming contact. It seemed like an effort to recapture the focus she'd forfeited. And truthfully, that insight struck stronger than rejection, as for the first time I viewed her authentically, not the ideal I'd created, but the actual person. One who enjoyed the focus, affirmation, emotional support I provided, but without the obligation attached. And I was finished in that position. That evening, after departure, a friend teased, Man, Emma looks a bit unsettled recently. What occurred? I chuckled. Nothing, that's sort of the idea. In the following weeks, I concentrated on my own growth. Returned to workouts, enrolled in a brief graphic class I'd delayed, spent time with other companions, those who didn't exhaust me mentally. It's astonishing how transformed existence seems when you cease seeking validation. I began resting deeper, nourishing better, grinning genuinely. Yet inwardly, I sensed it wasn't concluded. Emma wasn't one to release silently. When individuals lose prior influence, they either depart elegantly or create disturbance. She selected disturbance. It occurred on an ordinary Thursday evening. I was drowsy browsing Instagram when an alert appeared. Emma mentioned you in an update. My initial reaction, strange. We hadn't photographed together in ages. Intrigued, I checked and immediately stilled. It was an old image from a seaside outing with friends previous summer. I was passing her a beverage, both chuckling. She'd edited out others, leaving only us. The note. Certain individuals demonstrate true kindness. Grateful for all, Alex. A thankful retrospective. I gazed, mouth agape slightly. She hadn't shared a mere recollection. She'd mentioned me openly, visible to shared contacts. Responses flooded quickly. Are you two reunited? At last, you were adorable. What's happening? I experienced a peculiar blend of annoyance and incredulity rising. She understood her intent. This wasn't sentimentality. It was dominance, a method to draw me back publicly. Nonetheless, I refrained from commenting or liking. I lingered, eyeing my device briefly, then messaged, Me, hey, could you remove my mention from that update? Emma, why? It's merely an old picture, don't overthink it. Me, Emma, it's confusing, people assume we're a couple. Emma, come on, you're exaggerating, I just wish to post a pleasant recall. I inhaled deeply, containing frustration. Me, we're not a couple, I'd value if you honored that. Moments later, she read and ignored. Then, 10 minutes on, the mention vanished. Truthfully, I wasn't furious, just weary. Weary of tactics, unclear cues, control masked as harmless acts. That evening, I silenced her updates permanently this round. It's odd how serene it seemed, like sealing an entrance long overdue. The subsequent days passed calmly. Then a shared friend messaged, semi-teasing, Bro, what's up with you and Emma? She appears down. I answered, Nothing, I simply ceased engaging. And that captured it. For the first time in ages, I wasn't responding to her. I wasn't anticipating her longing or proving value. I was at last existing for myself, not her. Unbeknownst that reclaiming of calm would spark her ultimate, most urgent attempt. Months elapsed. Emma became largely absent digitally, silenced, absent from thought, absent from concern. Existence improved. I began dating anew. Her name, Sophia. We connected via a minor work assignment. She was witty, self-reliant, simple to converse with. No tactics, no riddles about feelings, no ups and downs emotionally. It all aligned naturally. She didn't require constant validation. No demands for presence or elaborate acts, just presence, truthfulness, mutual input. I'd suggest casual outings, stroll in green spaces, share laughs over trivial matters. It all seemed effortless, balanced. That's when I grasped romance shouldn't resemble an exam. For years first, I lacked worry over missteps or inadequacy. I could simply exist as myself. So yes, I shared an image, nothing extravagant. Just us at a modest rooftop spot, grinning. Note, great companion, great scenery. Hours later, a friend messaged, Emma viewed your update. No need to question source, soon after a call from unknown digits. I paused, then identified her tone instantly. Alex. I waited seconds then. Hello, Alex, her voice wavered as if tearful. Me, yes. Emma, I noticed your photo. You're with someone now? Me, yes, I am. Emma. She seems pleasant. A lengthy quiet followed, the sort sensing struggle for air. Then she shattered. Emma, I erred, Alex, truly, I failed to appreciate until you withdrew. You were constantly supportive, and I don't know my thoughts. I long for you. Please, can we converse, perhaps restart? Her tone shook with remorse and urgency. For an instant, I listened silently, not from sympathy, but for finality. After I breathed deeply. Me. Emma, I value your words, but I doubt you truly long for me. You long for the focus, how I boosted your feelings. She stayed quiet, but uneven breaths audible. Me, this sensation isn't affection, it's remorse, and that's fine. Lessons come from it, but I won't remain your repeated teaching. Another hush, tears evident. Emma, so finished, no feelings left. Me, I have feelings, just not those desired. I wish you well differently. And frankly, I'm grateful, it showed my true worth. I spoke evenly. Wish you harmony, Emma, sincerely, but I'm through repairing what wasn't intended to fracture. Before response, I bid farewell and ended. Then sat, device down, silent space enveloping, and sensed emptiness. That's the true conclusion, not her friendship suggestion, not my ceased messages. This sealed it neatly and quietly. I moved to the terrace, urban glows shimmering below. Gentle breeze passed, delivering calm tranquility. I grinned, not victorious but serene, the type upon ceasing a long-ended struggle. For months, I believed thanks for your honesty was for her, perhaps truly for me. Honesty means not only expressing feelings, but recognizing misalignment and departing. Departing isn't frailty. Often, it's the mightiest act. Thanks for hearing till the close. If similar experiences touched you, may this remind. Parting from someone isn't conclusion, it's rediscovering self.